So video testimony of my star self. So I'm stuck in this box now. I mean, this is my prison that I was born in America, the United States of 50. So I'm sitting here today, and it's the day where I go on the computer, and I'm checking out, because I'm going, what's the deal with Sue Macaluso and Ronkonkoma, my neighbor, and Maria? They both worked at Computer Associates. What the hell is Computer? Like, I don't even know what Computer Associates is, honestly. I mean, Maria invited me there once when I first moved to Long Island. She said they had a gym and a cafeteria, and they built this really beautiful big building. I'm like, okay, yeah. And I'm like, so what do you do here? Like, what do they do here? Like, what do all the people here do? And she's like, oh, well, they write contracts, and it's international sales. And I'm like, what does that mean? Like, that means nothing. Like, what does it look like? She could not put into words for me for whatever reason. Now, here's the other interesting thing. When I was little, Maria, her father looks very Middle Eastern, Serbian, like that yellow ghee skin, but with an ash underneath it. But the eyes are not, they don't have the extra fold of skin. Now, her mother is not yellow. She's actually more of a red pig underneath the white. But she has venereal disease in the eye for sure. And her eyes go all different ways. And Michael, Maria's father, has one good eye and one mook eye. Alright, so now they take me and drive me up to Maine, MAINE, up the eastern Atlantic seaboard when I was little. Apparently my parents let them take me. Judy intervened and said, listen, I heard through the family grapevine, or Nicole mentioned, that you are letting the neighbors across the street take her to Maine for like a few days. Like, do you know these people? Like, why are you letting your daughter drive in a car with two people that you don't know about, that just moved in the neighborhood, like, when she was born? Like, don't you think this is weird, Lou? And Lou was like, no, what's the big deal? I mean, they play all the time. They seem like nice people. Right. So I went unsupervised as a kid, because my parents are assholes, in a car with two known criminals to everybody else, but apparently not my parents, to drive all the way up to the state of Maine, a town called Booth Bay Harbor, BOOTHBAYHARBOR, which is where which is where Alice's parents lived. Apparently, they said that they adopted her, something along those lines. I guess they didn't really want to be her mom and dad if she's got venereal disease in the eye. Venereal disease, by the way, is what we call the Chinese and Koreans that have nothing but money-hungry intentions. They have no class, they have no valor, they have no honor, they have no honesty whatsoever. They'll do anything to make a dollar, to make themselves like more powerful and bigger and better. I mean, they are a disgusting breed, which is why we move the class of respectables to Mongol. I take away the new age label of modern Chinese Korean to the class of Wang, which are the most disrespectful and dishonoring class of venereal disease. So that's why when, like, the Starbucks chick was, like, upset about me saying Mongol, I'm like, are you, like, where I come, like, that's a honor. What, like, right, stupid fucking American. Venereal disease in the fucking head is what these American in New York are. Anyway, so I looked up on Computer Associates. Apparently there's a Sanjay Kumar, and then there's a, who left Sri Lanka for civil unrest in the year 1976, the same year that Jason Peter Romer was born. Now this is a problem. All right, so Maria, when I went up to Boothbay Harbor, Maine, I was maybe around 7 or 8 by myself. And I was introduced to a whole lot of their parents' friends because I'm a star and a sky god. And their Mongols are very interested in meeting, learning, speaking, and teaching me about what they know and and the spiritual side of things, which I was always super excited about. Now, where we had a problem was this Wang fellow, because it's like the John Smith, there's a lot of John Smiths in America, like the name Smith. It's like there's a lot of them, right? Apparently they said over in their respectable territory, that name, and it gets confusing. I said, I understand, okay. So that's where it got a little creepy for me. I tried to enjoy myself. Maria and I listened to the P.O.W. That you search for in my life time frame databank of the only time I ever listened to this spracha, so they can't hide the truth, is Samantha Fox. SAMATHAFOX. It was Samantha Fox. She's apparently Australian, very provocative, much like a Madonna in New York or in the United States of America. So I was not very, again, we listened to it on cassette, and the words I was trying to read to figure out if it was acceptable or not, or if we could make it so it would be acceptable, and we had nothing else to do, so we listened to music and just spoke, the two of us, because that's the kind of friends that we were. All right, so let's think about this. All right, so then we came back to New York, and it was but again, when I coptically look at faces, they all look the same. Unless I got repetition on you constantly in front of my face, I'm not going to remember what you look like. In fact, actually, I think that Tommy Macaluso might have been in Bayside yesterday, but I don't even know. I didn't really see him in Ronkonkoma. They were quiet in their houses. I was quiet in my house, raising Alexander, going to try to make work, trying to sell real estate so I could afford the house and not lose it. I saw him maybe outside. I don't know, is a tall gentleman, dark hair, very thin, looks, I think, like Tommy, but again, I didn't say hello because I don't want to embarrass myself if it's not. How embarrassing would that be? That's that, and that was in Bayside last night. All right, and then, so we go from there. So lo and behold, Maria, go figure, is now working at Computer Associates. I have no idea what they do. I just looked it up. Apparently, this Sri Lanka native, which is somewhere, I believe, in my Russia. It's my Russia. I own the Federation and the namesake and the people and the landmass. As the head of SIA, SSIA. That is my star goddess return. My placement was in Greco, GREECO, for I'm not Mongol and I'm not Middle Eastern Russian. I'm more of the ancient Greek Isis goddess, gracious, whatever. So here's your tie-in. So Jason Peter Romer, 1976, Sri Lanka, he has civil unrest. The Sanjay dude comes over to America, settles in South Carolina, same year, 1976. I don't know who gave him safe passage. I don't. It was not me. It was not my family. And especially based on how it threw the projections of my life off, he would never have been allowed safe harbor. Same thing with Wang. They opened in 1987, I believe, something in New York, and then Computer Associates opened as a American, under the brand label American, but American is the hemisphere. And then we have the United States of the 50 postage stamps on the North American side, that did not have, it was either U.S.E, U.S.C, U.S.G, plus U.S.Alexander, because it was all going to depend on how my childbirthing in Star and Sky God was being handled by the humans, because I can't do this all alone. I gave you the intel up ahead. You knew exactly what to do and who to take care of, and you did nothing of the sort. You just fucked it all up. And then when I was a teenager, you call me to make me aware of what's going on in some court somewhere, and I have no idea what's going on. I mean, there's nobody in Cold Spring Harbor, New York, Long Island, updating me. And if you're talking to Lou, he's not, I'm orphaned the day that I come into this world. Lou is a traitor and a treasonous, blasphemous piece of shit as far as I'm concerned. Same thing with Linda. I don't fucking trust them. They've never done anything correct for me. And it is a real fucking hazard to have to rely on them and be around. So now, I've got Peter Otto Romer, born same timing as my father, somewhere between, in the 1940s, between like, I don't know, maybe 1945 to 1948. He's the father of Jason Peter Romer, the potential problem. He's got a business residency factory in Massachusetts, and he's got his living arrangement residency in the state of New York. And he goes back and forth during the week for both. He supposedly sells textiles out of a catalog, for which he was gifted the business from some man that he met, and he worked his way up. He retired, by the way, to South Carolina. So I am assuming that his Nazi ass was in some agreement or alliance with some form of SS Soviet, although the SS and the Nazis are supposed to be protecting me from these criminals from last year's war or last season's war, although you've done nothing of the sort. Now, Jason Peter Romer got a job doing web design. He did web design for a pornography web company that designed pay-for pornography sites for gentlemen and whatever. And that was his first job, and he worked for some Sanjay guy for like $50,000. It was like the most he had ever gotten paid in Melville, Long Island, New York, before the Twin Towers fell. And then NYPD had a huge hiring, go figure, big class hiring, and then he went in for that. That's all was a problem, none of which I asked for. In fact, I asked for all of that to be killed way ahead of schedule, but none of you are really fucking useful in Humanville and crime fighting. And then I've got Charles Wang, who calls himself a Chinese and an American. He is neither. I did not give him permission to call himself an American. He is not granted passage into my hemisphere over here, where I am as prisoner of war at the moment. And I don't know how the Chinese government feels about calling him. I mean, are they venereal disease in the whole government? I don't know. So you'd have to ask a Mongol on that, but then how are you going to tell the difference? Well, yeah, without a star and sky god that they trust, it's going to be a little difficult for you, all area stupid fucking useless, like, Justice Department of injustice for all. Let's think about this. All right. And also, apparently it says on the website here, Charles B. Wang, Chinese American. I mean, again, this is what he wants. I put it up there, 1976 at age 31. Wang, pronounced Wang, launched Computer Associates using credit cards for funding. Oh my God, look at that. He used he used the national debt in order to open the treasonous money laundering schematic that was going to break all of the world leadership and government apart. Stupid fucking humans, hello? Do you ever think about the next generation? I mean, are you that fucking stupid? At 15, they already knew that I was a super crime fighter in future. Normally, they call it a paid confidential informant. They take the intel, they help fix the past as it's the current into the future. So this way the future is better than, because you're using this information. But the thing is that once it's paid and you act upon it, then the future changes. And the payment was, I gave you the information in good faith, you did the correct job, and now we both benefit from a better future. There's been no compensation, no money. I've gotten zero. All humans have done is stolen time, space, I mean, all sorts of things in the most ungratifying, no pleasure, no gratitude, no anything has been bestowed upon me whatsoever since I've been here.